Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Meet Praneeth. I hope all of you are all doing really well, and today's video is very interesting because the last video was all about the documents that you would need to file your I-485, and I hope that video was very informational to you in terms of understanding what documents are needed and how and what are the important things about those documents that you have to take care about. Now, today we are going to talk about how this 485 process, which is also known as adjustment of status, works. Like what are the steps, how much time it takes, and all the information that you need to know, because this is the very final and the end step before you receive your green card. So let's dive into this video without any further delay. So adjustment of status, which is also known as Form I-485, is a final step of the process where you started with filing I-140, waiting for your number to or your priority date to become current, and then you file your 485, which is the very final step before you get your green card. So, and it's a very important step as well. Though the denial rate of this step is low, but any mistake can definitely, uscis would definitely reject your case outright, and you'll have to redo the whole process from the filing process from the start. So make sure you watch the last video that I made and which I talked about in the introduction, that all the documents that you would need to successfully file I-485, and make sure what are the important things about those documents, discuss with your attorneys, and make sure everything in the form and the documents is correct and legit. So let's talk about adjustment of status today. So this step comes right after your I-140 is approved and your priority date is current. Now, let's say both the equations are matched, like your priority date is current and your I-140 is approved. And let's say you have gathered all the documents and you file your case with uscis. Now, today we are going to talk about the timeline and the steps. So, in general, the timeline is somewhere around 5 to 6 months to probably 10 months. I would not say that just stick with these numbers. This is a very general speaking timeline. Some cases are executed really fast, some take time, some are even taking more than 1 year. So there's no set time I can say that, well, I can confidently say that your case would be processed in this particular time frame. It's just that I hope that most of the cases will get approved or get adjudicated very quickly. Like in my case, my I-485 was approved in 65 days. I have a friend like Aditi, you have might have watched her video. Her case got approved in around 3 months. Another friend that I know got approved in 6 months. So it takes somewhere around that time, but in general speaking, like from 5 to 6 months should have some of your some outcome of your case should be there, or some status changes you should start to see. So there are several steps of this process. The first is that you file your 485, your 765, which is employment authorization, your 131, I-131, which is advance parole, with uscis. And once you file these, let's say on today, let's say today the date is 10th January 2023, you file your case with the uscis. So you send your documents via FedEx to a location from where uscis will send it to respective centers. In most of the cases, if you are filing non-concurrently, where you file your I-140 first, and that's approved, and now you're filing your I-485 after that, that is non-concurrent process. In that case, it might just directly go to NBC, which is National Benefits Center. And we are seeing that from websites like Trackit, Lawfully, and no paid promotion here, it's just information. These show that generally, averagely speaking, the time is around 5 to 10 months, somewhere in that range. Now, coming to the process, once you get your application is filed, you will have a receipt letter from uscis coming to your mailbox, and you will have 3 of these coming, which will be one would be for I-485, one would be I-765, and one would be for I-131. Now, generally speaking, you should have a letter within 2 to 6 weeks after your filing. Let's say you filed on 10th of January, probably let's say by end of January or first week of February, you should have your letters. And these letters basically would tell you what is the case status number that is assigned to your case, and how basically uscis will process your case. This is all the information that you'll have in the letter. Now, once you've got those letters, and once you have your, let's say, the MSC number or the LIN number or whatever the case status number is assigned to you, you can start to check out that case status in like websites like USCIS Case Tracker, Lawfully, or I think there is another case tracker app that you can use. And what it does is basically you will put in your number, and you can see what step USCIS is on your case. So generally it will be showing your case was received for all the 3 applications, or it might say that fingerprint pre was received for your I-485 and a case was received for the other 2. Now, after, let's say, probably after filing, probably within 2 months, you should also receive a letter about your biometrics appointment. And that is a very, very important step. So it's also called ASC appointment. Now, what will happen is it's called Application Support Center, if I'm not wrong. But what will happen is you will get a letter from USCIS in your mailbox. And that will have basically a location and date and the timing when you'll have to go to that location for your biometrics. And that biometrics would be for 2 applications. If you have submitted your 765 and 485, it will be both for both of them. If you have just submitted your 485, then it will be only for your 485 application. So let's say you filed on 10th of January and your biometrics, let's say, is for 10th of February. And I'm just putting out some dates here. So let's say you got the date and the time. So you'll go to that support center or the USCIS service center, and you'll go and I think you'll have to take your notice, which talks about your biometrics appointment. Also, a state issued ID or a passport. I think you should carry your state issued ID and a passport and this letter to the center, and then they will take your fingerprints, they'll take your photo, and that is the first very important process of biometric selection. Now, one thing that then some people also face, and some people ask this question, is let's say your biometrics falls on a date on which you have a very important doctor's appointment, or let's say you're pregnant and you have your due date very close to that appointment date, and you would not be able to travel to that center at that time, or let's say by some you have some travel plan which is very important, and you cannot just miss that, right? In that case, sometimes if you go to that center early, as soon as you receive your letter, and tell them genuinely about that problem, the people there at the center might be able to accommodate you on the same day, or they might be able to give you a date which works with your schedule. But you should only do that or request that if you have a very, very genuine problem. Just don't rush to give your biometrics early, because that would not help your case in any way. And also talk to your attorney and ask them whether that's the right way to go forward or not. But I can definitely vouch for some cases where people, like one of my friends were pregnant, and their due date was very close to that biometrics date, and that's why they just went and requested USCIS people, and they were okay to accommodate them on the same date when they went there. So, but it's also case by case, center by center. So talk to your attorneys and make sure you understand the process. Now, once your biometrics is collected, the idea behind collecting the biometrics is the FBI wants to run a criminal background search, or background check on your case, and make sure that you have no criminal cases on you, and you do not have any wrongdoings in the country. You are working as a legit person, you're working for a legit company, and let's say whatever you're doing is all legit, and you are a loyal resident. So that's the whole idea about this background check or the biometrics appointment. Now, once that is completed, USCIS will get a notification that your background check is complete, and if there are no problems, probably the next step would be interview. Now, that interview for employment-based visas were introduced by Trump administration in 2016. Now, in some cases, we still see interview happening, but for most of the cases, USCIS is not doing interviews. But again, it's case by case, and you can't really predict which case will have an interview and which will not. I think it will be all depending on who's working on your case, and if they feel like of doing an interview, USCIS will conduct one. And what will happen is USCIS will send out again a letter to you showing that, well, this is the date of your appointment for interview, and well, this is the time that you have to arrive, and this is when you have to arrive, and what all you have to bring along with your appointment. And what you have to do that day, you have to take everything that you submitted while filing for your 485, take all those documents along with you for your interview's appointment. If you have an interview, you should not miss any of the documents that you were submitting for your 485. The reason is, you never know what they might ask for. They might ask for your tax returns. They might ask for your degrees. They might ask for, let's say, your marriage certificate, your birth certificate. So make sure you have all the documents talk to your attorney, make sure you have a list of all and everything. Everything is scanned, everything is ready to go, and you also have the originals with you when you go for your interview. Now, during the interview, I didn't have one, but one of my friends had, and they said that it's a very streamlined process. You reach there, you tell them that you're here for your interview. Then one of the USCIS officers will call you and you will take a pledge. Well, all the things that you're saying is true and there's no wrong information that you're giving here. And whatever you have filled in your I-485 is also true, right? And then I think probably they will go through your I-485, discuss some things there and some additional questions that they might have around your employment, or let's say about the case or the history or anything that they want to talk about. Generally, it's a 20 to 30 or 40 minutes interview. Definitely, it's very nerve-wracking, but if you're sure that there is nothing wrong in information that you have given in the 485, or there is nothing wrong that you're going to say, I think it should be very streamlined, a very simple process. And once your interview is done, probably USCIS will, the officer might tell you on the spot that, well, there would be any new case status that's coming to your case soon, or they might not say anything. And it will be like just you go home and then you will see something happening on your case. So generally, once your case interview is done, probably we have seen that people get a case status saying that your case was approved or something on those lines come to your case. But it varies people to people, case to case. Generally, after interview, your cases are generally adjudicated very quickly. Now, once your interview is done, it's just a waiting game. So after biometrics till you get your green card, it's all waiting game. And I-485, the whole idea about I-485 or adjustment status is for USCIS to make sure that you are a legit person. You have not done anything wrong and you are staying in this country as a loyal citizen, as a person, sorry, a loyal non-resident, not a citizen, and you are doing a legit job. You are doing everything that you're saying in your I-485 is correct, and that's the whole idea. So once they're sure that yes, you have everything clear, your immigration history is correct, and everything you have provided to USCIS is correct, they'll be happy to reward your green card. Now, one thing that might happen is, let's say, like you might have seen my previous video on January visa bulletin where EB1 got retrogressed. So let's say you filed in October 2022. Until that time, there was no retrogression for EB1. And suddenly, in January, there was retrogression. So what will happen is then your case might have all the biometrics taken and everything is done. You might probably also have your interview done. And let's say if your interview is done, what will happen is the visa officer might tell you that, well, your case is retrogressed because your priority date is away further from the current date. So what will happen is you'll have to wait for your priority date to become current, and then you'll get your green card approved. But before that, probably your I-765 and I-131 would come to your mailbox so that you can start working and traveling in and out of the country without any issues. And I think these are the main steps. So very simple procedure, but takes a lot of time, and that's why most of the people get frustrated. And when I filed, I was like, oh well, it's a waiting game. Once my biometrics was done, I was like, well, it will take, I'm not sure how much time, but for me it got approved quickly. So it can happen with you, it can take time, so don't worry about it. If you're sure about your document, sure about your form, it will be adjudicated. It can take time, it can be very quickly, so you can't really predict that. And I think this was it. I wanted to just make sure that you have all the information about the steps and what to do if, let's say, you have an emergency and your biometrics clashes with that. And one thing that I want to repeat, do not miss your biometrics appointment. If you think you will miss it, call USCIS. They give all the instructions in that letter that they give you. You should call them, let them know that there is an emergency, you might not be able to attend the biometrics, and can they reschedule. And rescheduling can delay your case. So make sure you attend your biometrics on time. If there is an emergency that you already are aware of, talk to them, make sure if they can accommodate you a little earlier than that. If not, talk to them to reschedule it. But so I wish you all the very best. It's a very important step, but the final step. So once you're done through this, you're done. You're finally in the process, and we will become a permanent resident of the country. And and I think please feel free to drop in a comment. Let me know what all other topics you want me to cover, any other questions you have, and anything that I should improve upon. And please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Let me know if you want to talk about your case, just want my help understanding some things, any questions you have, and talk to your attorneys. Never stop asking questions. If you have any slightest of naive questions you think you have, I would just say one thing: no question is naive. Go for that question, ask, make sure you have understanding of each and every step. Once you have that, you will automatically feel very confident about what you're doing. So yeah, ask questions, look for information, look for videos, not just my video, look for any videos you find on YouTube which you think are giving right content and informational content. Watch all of them, because that would just help you gain more and more knowledge and more confidence about your case. So with that, I wish you all the very best, and I hope your case gets adjudicated very quickly. And yeah, please feel free to let me know if you have any questions or any topics that you want me to make videos on. Until then, I'll see you very soon. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care. Bye bye.